Hey, YouTube, man. This is episode 34 of Yeah Man, the podcast. Today, I'm here with Ben the Awesome Newsom. I'm JP, the creator. Today's episode is about Audrey Rush and how the story with a 46-year-old woman playing semi-pro football as an offensive lineman with grown men. That's impressive, man. That's impressive.
Very impressive.
So, Miss Rush, the floor is yours. How did you start out into the world of semi-pro football?
Well, interestingly enough, when I was a little girl, I always wanted to play football. But my mom told me that's not what nice girls do. So I played soccer instead.
Okay.
Then as an adult, I own, coach, and manage my own co-ed soccer team that plays in Torso. And one of my soccer players came to me and she said, "Hey, let's go try out for this football team. I think you'd be great at it," because I'm known for being really aggressive on the soccer field, especially with the guys. I've been known to roll them. And so I said, "Really?" And I was like, "Wow, they have women's football." I said, "Yeah, let's go." So we went and tried out. We made the team. I played for the Houston Power for 2 years. That was my first team.
Okay.
And two of my coaches had recruited me, who played for the Texas Spartans in the GTFA and the Crackle. They had recruited me to play kicker for the Texas Spartans because obviously I'm a soccer player, so I kicked some too. And that was my first experience in men's semi-pro, was with the Texas Spartans. And it was just a great experience. The guys were really supportive. And, I played defensive tackle and center some on my women's team. I kept playing women's for a while. I also played for the Houston Heat and the Houston Energy. And I don't know, just watching the guys at practice, I thought, I can do this. I think I could really do this. And I started goofing off with them at practice, and Coach Torres started letting me play. And I know, the two guys that had recruited me, CT and Flash, they, advocated for me to play. So eventually one day Coach threw me out there at DT, and it went really well. I got in the backfield. I drove that kid in front of me way back. Honestly, I probably should have shed him and followed the ball, but I was so excited. I was like, yeah, I'm doing this. And I just kept driving him backwards. Here's the picture, and I'm like way in the backfield with this kid, and everybody else is like way behind me because the ball went the other way. But, I guess I was a little excited. So that went well, and then he let me play some center, and that went well. We scored. And so ever since then, I've just been playing and learning more about my positions and working hard just to be out there. And I think was this last year, the H-Town Panthers broke away from the Texas Spartans. Torres started the new team, the H-Town Panthers, so I went with them last year. And, of course, our season was cut short because of COVID. But we did play quite a few off-season games, and I actually got to start in a few of those games, and I played quite a significant amount as center.
Cool.
And that's been going well. And so I'm really looking forward to this next season.
And how I first heard about you is we had a couple guys. I was coaching. I'm coaching with the Bexar County Bombers, and some of the guys went to a scrimmage, and they always playing the Austin Vikings. And they was like, "Man, they have a woman out here playing ball," and I'm like, "Okay." And so I seen linebackers, I seen kickers, I never seen a lineman, like an old lineman. And I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" She said, "Man, the girl is holding it down, man." And I'm just like, okay, And I seen on Semi-Pro Chat And like you became the thing in semi-pro chat. It was like everybody talk about you, and I'm like, wow. And I said, man. So I think right after that game, I had inboxed you, and I was like, man, you gotta be on the show, man. Because I played semi-pro football. I think about 12 years. And I was an offensive lineman, and man, it's just real physical, man. Like your body after a game, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like one of the most grimiest positions in sports, man. You know, it's nasty, as you know. And I was just like, wow, I was impressed by that. They said like you hold your own, and I was like, yeah. So
yeah, I had some really good plays that game with the Vipers.
Okay.
It was a really good game, and yeah, it's definitely a physical position. One of my strong suits is my endurance.
Okay.
You know, soccer is kind of an endurance sport. I usually run about a marathon a year. You know,
Okay.
I've run the Houston Marathon and some other marathons. You know, it's kind of hard to train for a long run like that while playing football, but I think it's given me a lot of endurance. So sometimes the guys will come out there, you know, 1 to 3 plays. Yeah, you know, I may struggle, but after that, you know, my endurance kicks in. And when everybody else is tired, I'm that person out there still going. You know, that's probably my strongest suit.
So how many? So you said you played professional women's football. How many years did you play women's football?
Well, I think I've been playing for it'll be 6 years now.
Women and men.
You know, let's see here. I played 2 years for the Houston Power. I played a year for the Houston Heat and a year for the Houston Energy. So that's 4 years of women's football.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how long did you play for the Spartans?
The Spartans for 2 years and the Panthers for, well, this will be my second year, I guess, technically with them. Our first season was cut short because of COVID, but we did, you know, like I said before, we did play, you know, preseason games and you know, still were practicing and whatnot during that time.
Okay. And so your first game so you're in the TUFL. And
the TUFA.
TUFA. My sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm gonna get killed for that. But you're in the TUFA, and that's pretty stiff league, man. So cause it's like you have a couple teams in the top 25 in that league, and you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
you
stiff.
know, the Colts have a national championship.
Right.
You know, the Red Raiders have a great team. There's a lot of great teams out there. And, you know, there's some newer teams, and we'll see, you know, that they have some good talent on it. Like, there's a lot of talented guys out there in Houston playing right now. So it'll definitely be a great season, I think.
What's the reaction you get when you go to a game and they find out that you're a woman playing O-line?
You know, for the most part, what has happened until recently, nobody even knew I was out there. And they wouldn't know until the end of the game.
That you took when you took
you
your
know
helmet
how
off?
after the game you go shake hands and fist bump and then everybody circles up? Literally, when I would take my helmet off, suddenly everybody would freak out because nobody even realized the girl was out there the whole time.
Oh, wow.
So that tells me I must be doing something right because they took me as a real player and you know, competitor. And so the reaction has been a lot of the time it's really positive. I mean, and the feedback I get from the other teams, you know, has been really positive too. A couple times, you know, they pulled me in the center and said some really amazing, sweet things, you know. And I had to think to myself, Audrey, do not be a girl. Do not tear up right now. This is football. Because they were just being really, really wonderful with all the comments and everything. So, I honestly, overall, in general, it's been really a supportive environment when they finally find out. And they're always surprised. And sometimes when they find out during the game, that's pretty funny, too. I mean, I think some of my favorite comments, like right before I snapped the ball one time, the nose guard looked at me and was like, wow, you have beautiful eyes. And I was just like, I'm like, this certainly is a game changer in ways you probably never thought about, but that kind of, could you imagine that happening on the football field?
I never been told that. I never been told that.
I snapped the ball and I punched the shit out of him too, so that was funnier. Because I think I laid him out. The whole sideline erupted.
Who is the best? Okay, who is the best person you've been against? Like in your opinion,
the best person that
you've been against.
That I've been against?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't even know that I know his name.
Okay.
But it's like in person. But there was a guy that came out, for example, on the believe it or not, the Tarantulas. And I don't know if he plays with them regular season, but this dude had huge arms, and he was, wow, that dude was tough. And I definitely went home, and I knew I had worked out. Let me just leave it at that. That was a rough game for us. Anyways, one of our teammates had passed away. Over half the team was at the funeral, but we were trying to, honor our commitment because I think they traveled a little bit to come play. So we went out there and played, and that was definitely a rough game for a lot of reasons. But that guy over top of me, he was really good. And, there were some guys that played for the Dream Team. They were good too. I mean, there is just so much talent, and sometimes they're good in different ways. Like I remember when we played in Colorado, they had this guy that was just super speedy and super smart. He was able to read people really well. Then you have those guys that are really tall and big, and they're just powerful. So they'll give you a battle for a whole game just because of their size and strength, And then, when we played the Lions, when I was on the Texas Spartans, they had a lot going on there because generally what happens when they see me on the field, they see my size, they'll take their biggest guy, put him head up on me, and they'll blitz a linebacker behind him the whole game, sometimes two. I mean, literally, it's hysterical. Like, I'll have three dudes charging at me at the same time. And everyone thinks this is a new idea, I guess. I don't know, but it's... I tell Coach more than once, just push me to the side and let them follow me over there and then run the ball the opposite way, because they'll have their defense is trying to come get me. So, anyways, but yeah, there's a lot of talented people out there. So, I don't know. That's really hard to say for different reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And actually, honestly, one of the hardest hits I ever took was playing women. There's a lady that plays in Florida. Got me pretty good on, I was playing kick return, and she got me pretty good. I mean, she lit me up. I was dumb. It came in straight up. That was stupid on my part. And then there's another lady that plays O-line for the Dallas Elite. And, she benches like over 300 pounds, and she is just a phenomenal player. Like, she could easily be outdoing half the guys in semi-pro.
Wow. So in the women, y'all got paid, right?
We get paid.
In the
No,
women?
I
Okay.
have sponsors,
It's fine.
and I have found my own sponsors, so I did bring in money.
Okay.
But there is not, as of yet, a women's league where they get paid like that,
Okay.
except maybe the panty league. And I don't know that they get paid very much if you know, for that. So
That's more of a sexualized league, right? Like they wear like lingerie and a helmet or something like that.
yeah.
But they pop.
You know, kudos
Oh,
to
yeah,
those
they
ladies
pop.
because, you know, sliding on turf in your underwear is rough.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I've seen.
And, you know, because they're wearing, like, undersized gear and things like that. It's also more dangerous, and they're going to be more injury-prone because of it. So those ladies are tough and you know, some just amazing athletes. So, you know, they work really hard. Right now, they're trying to start. There's a league, I think, called the WFLA, and they're trying to pay women to play football and whatnot. I think they might have their inaugural season in 2022. Right now, probably the two most competitive women's leagues I know about are the WFA and the NFC. And they're national leagues, so women travel all over and play in different states and whatnot. Like, for example, when I played for the Energy and the Power in the WFA, we traveled all over. You know, well, in the Heat, too. I think they were in the USWFL at that time when I played for them. But, like, I played in Detroit, Washington, D.C., Colorado, Louisiana, Florida. So, I mean, if there's something akin to the NFL, it's one of those two leagues. But at this point in time, and they're the most competitive leagues out there for women, but women do not get paid like that. No.
What was your?
The only reason I had money is because I found my own sponsors.
Would you ever try out for the?
Do I ever what?
Would you ever try out for the women league you talked about?
Oh yeah, there's tryouts for all the women's teams. You know, and they even have 8-man leagues. Like my friend plays for the Houston Phoenix Fire, and I think that's one of those 8-man leagues, and you know, so it's pretty fast paced, lots of fun.
No, well, I mean, would you yourself try out for the women league, the professional women league where you get paid?
Oh, the pay league?
Yes.
Yeah, I would consider that. I'm just curious to see how it takes off and see what happens. You know, I would definitely, you know, love to be paid for it. I love playing, so it would be even better to be paid. Of
Right.
course. Right now, I've chosen to mostly stick and play with men because I'm really trying to see how far I can go. You know, I'm getting older. I don't know, who knows when I'll retire, but I really want to push myself and see how far I can go and what level can I compete at. And in order to do that, in order to get better, you got to play the best, right?
Right.
So that's part of the reason why I stay in men's is to up my game.
I don't know if you heard this woman lately. There's a safety that plays out in Missouri named Tony Harris. What's your opinion on her?
Who? Tony Harris?
Tony Harris, the one that plays the safety. I think she plays safety in somewhere in Missouri.
Oh, you're talking about the lady who got the scholarship to play safety
Yes.
at college?
Yes. What's your opinion on her?
I think, you know, it's awesome. I have not really watched her play much, but I think that's just amazing. And certainly women are making strides all over. You've got coaches in the NFL now and whatnot. And one of the the first woman, I think, to play pro, played for the Texas Revolution, running back, a few plays, and so there's a lot going on there, and I'm just really happy, and I'm supportive of people, well, really anybody just reaching out, following their dreams, and pushing the edge, the envelope to see how far they can go. And I mean, if she works hard and does her job, then she has every right to be there as much as anybody else.
So do you think that there'll be female players in the NFL one day?
In the NFL?
Yes.
I'm sure there probably will be eventually. I mean, there was some talk, oh my gosh. There's been talk a few times of women's soccer players ending up being kickers in the NFL. And, maybe that'll be the first one. And then, of course, if you get a league like, a real professional league for women, maybe that won't be as big of an issue. But, yeah, I think there probably will be eventually.
Well,
there's a lot of talented ladies out there.
It took a long time for the WNBA to even come out as a league. So if there were to be a women's football league, how long do you think it's going to take to maybe just even take off and get ratings and all that, things like that?
Well, some of that depends on the marketing behind it. So a lot more marketing goes into men's sports than women's sports. And, when the media basically tells you what to like, that's, we do follow that because that's what we see over and over, and that's what we know what's available. It's like right now you have women's teams out there, and there's people that don't even realize, even men's semi-pro players I've met don't realize there's women's football out there at all. And so I think with proper marketing, it could probably take off in a couple of years. If they don't have the funding, it'll probably take longer, But I see no reason why it couldn't take off eventually.
Do they have cities that they're looking to start off in?
I'm sorry, what?
Do they have cities where they want to start off the women league in? Like, do they have cities where they want to start the league in?
Oh yeah, the WFLA definitely has. They already have teams. Like I think the Houston has a team, but there's teams all across the nation. And certainly leagues like the WFA has teams all across the nation. Pretty much every state you live in, you can find women's football.
Okay.
From New Mexico to New York, California, women's football is everywhere. And I don't know all the teams like that one league has lined up, but they're everywhere.
What would you tell a woman or a high school girl or a girl that wants to be a football player, that her dream's in the NFL? What would you tell her to do? Like, what would you? How can she follow your footsteps to become a professional football player or even a semi-pro football player? Just play football and have fun. What would you tell her?
I would tell her to be prepared to work hard and just don't give up. Don't take no for an answer. Of course, I've been out there and I've had the sideways looks and weird comments sometimes. And usually what happens when they see me play, everything turns around because they see I'm there to play and I'm serious about what I'm doing. And for anybody wanting to achieve anything, you got to be prepared to work hard, face those setbacks and trials because they happen. You know, I've had injuries. I broke my hand. I've torn my meniscus. And I tore a ligament in my foot. And so you have to be prepared to work hard and keep pushing through those things in order to get where you want to be. So to anybody wanting that, man or woman, child, just work your ass off and stick with it. You know, don't give up because, you know, here I am. I'm 46 years old. I'm old enough to be the mom of most of the guys I play against.
Right.
And semi-pro. You know, I can only imagine what would have happened if I had played when I was younger and found it when I was 20, because I was twice as strong and twice as badass at that age, you know? I was a 180-pound spitfire, like, and at that time. And so that's the most I could tell anybody. Just never give up and keep working and fighting and for what you want in life, you know?
What's everyday life for you? Like, what do you do on a daily basis?
On a daily basis?
Yeah.
Well, I have to say my mornings are a little lazy. I enjoy my cup of coffee, and there's this period of time from when I get my kids off to school, right before I have to go to work, that I have my quiet time, and I just really enjoy my coffee. And I just sit and, you know, enjoy the peace. And then I do work a day job. Most of my job is like accounting and some marketing type stuff. I do some database and I manage their website and stuff. So I do work that day job. Most days I work out. So obviously we have practices about twice a week, and I play a game a week. Well, maybe not every week, because sometimes we have 5. But and then I also coach and manage a soccer team. So Sundays are all about soccer. And then I cross train a lot. I lift weights. I jog. I bike. I do a program called My Peak Challenge. It's an online workout platform. They do a lot of kind of HIIT training, weight training, different kinds of aerobics. They have yoga and plans online. And so I use that to cross-train some, which is really good for me because I find when I focus too much like just on football or weightlifting, you know, things get out of balance. So this really helps me keep my endurance up and flexibility and build my strength. You know, we have all kinds of challenges like burpee challenges and things like that we do. And it's a great community too that's really supportive. So that's, and you know, between all of that, I have my beautiful children and, you know, we enjoy hanging out and playing games, and my partner, who's extremely supportive, Tony, I really couldn't do it without them being so supportive, you know, because it does take up a lot of time, and if they weren't so supportive, it wouldn't be, you know, it wouldn't be possible for me to spend the time I do working out and trying to push myself in the areas of football and you know, physical fitness and whatnot.
So you said Tony, right?
Yes, Tony.
Okay. So how does Tony feel seeing these 6'2", 6'3", 300-pound linemen hit you?
You know, as Tony says himself, I'm a grown woman and I can make my own choices.
Cool.
Okay.
He's not really into that, but he knows how much I love it, and so he's extremely supportive of me doing that, and he tells me all the time how amazing I am. You know, it's beautiful having somebody in your life that is that supportive of what you want to do. even when everybody else is telling you, man, you're crazy.
Man, like I think I told you before. This is a question I had to ask you. You kind of make me, because I've been the type of person, I was kind of like on the fence with women playing in a men-dominated sport. And I think I am. Do you ever get men that kind of? How can I say this? But do you ever get men that feel like, because a man not supposed to hit a woman. Do you ever get men that kind of feel guilty that they hit you, or they just kind of like in that mode when they playing, or do you get men that like, oh, I shouldn't have did that, or you ever get something,
There's a couple times when I've faced off with guys, especially, on my own team maybe, but I feel like they didn't want to give it their all, but most of the time after I hit them, like, I know, like, one time I remember in a game, and I faced off with this guy, and, like, I gave him what for, and then at the end of the play, he just smiled so big, and he patted me on the shoulder, and he was like, yeah, awesome, because I think he was nervous about it, because it was one of the times when they had realized I was a woman before, during the game.
Right.
So, and then after that, he just kept coming at me, and it was a great game. And then sometimes, sometimes I think they want to go harder on me when they find out I'm a woman. Not easier, because they don't want me there. Because like I said, they'll literally take their biggest dude, put his head up on me, and they'll have their linebacker, they might blitz me. And sometimes they'll blitz two linebackers, or they'll send two DTs, pitch down and hit me and blitz the mic,
Right.
Regardless, and what's funny is they'll do it regardless of how our offense is set up or what they may think we're running. It doesn't matter. Wherever I am, they're going to put the biggest guy and blitz the linebacker every time. It never fails.
And man, I heard you hold your own.
Yeah, well, I get better all the time, and I certainly do get my, dish out some licks sometimes, get a few pancakes here and there. So usually, by the end of the game, though, whatever was going on before them, whatever their thoughts were, in general, they respect me.
Right.
And, so hopefully I'm out there changing some minds. Because that's one of the things I hope to achieve. I hope to be an example for younger women, to let them know, whatever you want in life, go out there and work hard for it, and you can get it. And I also like to change the minds of some guys who maybe think, women can't do this or that. Well, yeah, we can. We're here.
I mean, I know how it's physical in the trench, man. And I was still, I've seen kickers. Like I said, but when somebody told me an O-lineman, I was like, you gotta be bullshitting me. And everybody on that chat, I think it was maybe 300 and something comments or something crazy. And everybody was just like, man, no, man, she holds it down, man. And I never seen in semi-pro chat where it was like, where everybody was like, no, she holds it down. And I was like, wow. And I was impressed by that. And so what, so you have so what's next for you?
What's next for me? Well, I'm going to keep playing for a while longer. This December, the first weekend in December, I'll be playing in the National All-Star Game in Las Vegas. It'll be my second time playing in that game. I played with them not last year, but the year before. And at the Minor League Football Report Hall of Fame weekend in Vegas. And that's where I won, my ring.
Cool.
And I got invited back, so I will be playing with them again on Mama Boykin's team.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
How's your season been going this year? Have y'all started?
We did just have our first game against the Texas Red Raiders. We lost in overtime. I actually wasn't at that game. I had a funeral, and so I could not, be there. Obviously, some things are more important.
Right. Sorry
my
you lost.
uncle had passed away of brain cancer, and there was some illness and whatnot. So there was a lot going on, but we lost in overtime. So it was a really tight game. Next, we played the Heat. The Space City Heat on April 10th.
Okay.
And then he's
Yeah.
It's actually my next tournament too. Is April 10th. There's a lot going on that day.
Right.
I also compete in jiu-jitsu, so I actually have a tournament in Austin that day. The same day you're playing the game, I have a tournament, so we might have to call and compare stats.
There you go. Yeah, that's great. Jiu-jitsu is awesome. I did some martial arts when I was younger.
Well,
My mom, the women in my family have a history of being kind of trailblazers and really strong women. My grandmother was an old farm girl, and she was a nurse, and she did a lot of trailblazing work as a nurse. And my mom actually was a black belt. And she earned her black belt while she was pregnant with my little brother.
Nice.
And in her 50s, after she retired, she started competing as a competitive bodybuilder in her 50s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Nice.
So, women in my family kind of have a history of being tough.
What did your mother go to any of your games?
Huh?
Did your mother go to any of your games?
No, unfortunately, no. My mom is in a home with dementia.
Oh,
It's severe dementia, and by the time I had started playing, she, things were already kind of heading downhill, so she can't really be there for me like that. She needs constant care and supervision anymore. I mean, she's not even really verbal now. She did just come to all my soccer games, when I was younger. And she saw me play soccer as an adult before I had started playing football. So that's something she was always very good at. Women and their mothers often have tenuous relationships. That's true with my mom, but she was always very good about. She was that crazy mom running up and down the sideline, screaming.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember in high school one time they said, Audrey, go get your mom. She's about to beat this man up. Like she got into it with somebody's dad on the other team.
Yeah, man. My mom had an incident too, man. I had got into it with one of the defensive linemen, and my mom actually jumped from the stands onto the field.
Oh my!
Yeah, I hear about that to this day. To this day.
Whoever that kid was did not know what was about to get him.
Man, you know what, man? It just I went back on the sidelines, and then she was just there, and I'm like, wow, how did this happen? And it was crazy. But you know that your mother is like totally into it. And
instinct too.
yeah, but man, and then another game I remember, we was playing in Austin. We was playing against a team, and it was like a monsoon rain, and the band couldn't play. And she was out there, and she was out there. She had a parker, and she was out there for the whole game. Yeah, and so she was just awesome. She passed away about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was always out there. Yeah, so.
Yeah. My grandma, I always just think about her. she's passed away. She's been passed away, but I think about her a lot, and I think, I feel like she sees me where she's at. She raised me from like 7 to 14.
Right.
From when I was 7 to 14, so she's a key influence in my life, And I remember because I played baseball with the boys when I was younger, and I think I got upset about something, and she was like, "You want to play with these boys? You get out here. You don't cry. You get out there and you go hit the crap out that ball, and don't you take no shit off nobody." I remember her telling me that.
Yeah.
That was her pump-up speech, and I went out and I hit a triple. So
Nice.
Man, so did you play college ball anywhere?
Huh?
Did you play college ball anywhere?
No, I was supposed to play soccer in college, but I got pregnant and lost my scholarship. So, back then, because I'm 46, there wasn't a lot of the opportunities for a teen mom like there are now. Not that it's great, but there has been a lot of improvement. I've been on my own since I was 15 years old. I've been blessed to have some amazing people that are in my life, like Wendy and Lynn and all these people throughout my life, coaches and things that helped support me. So I ended up graduating high school. I did go to college. I have a master's degree in anthropology. It took me a little while to get there because I did 2 years, and then I had another kid, and then I took some time off, and then I went back and I finished my bachelor's, and then I did my graduate work later. So, so that's definitely been an interesting journey for me as well, my education. But in the long run, it's paid off. I have a great job, and that's another thing. My job pretty much lets me travel whenever I've needed to for football and stuff like that. And they're all really supportive about it. So that's pretty cool, too.
So you're doing anthropology now?
No, right now I'm doing office work.
Okay.
I did spend 10 years working in the field as an archaeologist. I also worked as a forensic anthropologist when I was in New Mexico. And, it's a lot of fun. There's just not a lot of work like that around here because mostly what I did was like environmental clearance for projects on federal land. Well, most of the land is privately owned in Texas. And also because I had, gotten remarried and I have my 2 little kids now, the 11-year-old and the 9-year-old. And it's just hard to travel into the field like that when you've got little kids.
Right.
So I work an office job now doing mostly accounting, marketing, website management kind of stuff. So, but hopefully one day again, I will be able to travel around and do more archaeology. I mean, like I even lived in Guatemala doing my dissertation research. So. For about 3 months. That was a lot of fun.
Gotcha. So, I guess, because I played offensive line for 12 years. Mm-hmm. It comes a time. It comes a time.
I'm saying though, he's a five-time All-Star. Respect that man. He's going to the Semi-Pro Hall of Fame.
I appreciate it.
I will say this every time. The man was a five-time Semi of the Pro All-Star offensive lineman.
Great.
Yeah, he always says that. But,
that's great.
Thank you.
That's one of my in-game goals too. I want to hit the Hall of Fame.
So that's what I was going to ask you. So what is like when your career is over with? What do you want the world to say about you? Like what do you want your accomplishments to be? what you want the world to what you want the semi-pro world to remember you by, the football world to remember you by?
Like I said, in the end, I hope to be an inspiration for young women and, mentor people. Like I said, eventually I would love to be in the Hall of Fame. I also want to move to coaching, maybe, so I can mentor young people. I love being a big sister to these guys. I love my team. I gotta say, I love my team, and we're a real family, and so I enjoy playing that big sister role, So I think that's something I would definitely like to move to in the future more is coaching and mentoring young people, Because, I have my own interesting stories and struggles throughout my life. Like I said, I've been a mom since I was 15, and I just feel like I want people to know, if you work hard, yeah, you can do something different and keep your dreams close and work hard and one day you're going to get there.
Cool. Man, so this year, but I guess we had talked before, and you said you had how many rings being in the All-Star game? 2, I believe.
Yeah, I got my rings from Vegas. Playing in the All-Star game. My regular team, like my regular season team, we have not won a championship. But yeah, I did get my All-Star ring from Vegas, and that was really exciting.
Okay.
And they're totally, I love it because they're big and ridiculous and bling.
So it's 2 against like Team USA, right? Is that
Huh?
On the All-Star games, is it 2 against Team USA?
No, they didn't.
I haven't played in the Tufa All-Star game. No, it was a minor league football report Hall of Fame weekend.
Okay.
And I played for the it was the Texas Cali Elite when I played for Mama Boykin's team in Las Vegas. And we played, and I think most of the guys on the other team, it was the Arizona All-Star team.
Okay.
And I think most of them were from Arizona. So, yeah, it was a really challenging and fun game. And then that same day, I played in a second game with a team run by David Samaniego, and we won, actually. CT actually had that winning touchdown run. He plays running back, and it was a great game. And the whole experience was really amazing. And, I actually got an award from the minor league football Hall of Fame for, my, like a recognition award from them for everything I had done and achieved. So it was a really good weekend.
So you played 2 games in one day?
Yeah, I played 2 games in one day.
Oh, you in like Quinn.
That's
yeah,
that's a boss
I didn't
move
play
right
a whole
there.
lot the second game, but the first game I played guard the whole game.
So what position have you played? I know you played center.
And DT. I played some DT there too.
Okay.
Huh?
So what position have you played during your career? I know you played center.
I played center, guard. I played DT. I kicked. In women's, I did play some O-tackle as well. Yeah. So I mean, it's mostly been line positions and kicking. So.
Have you played all 5 positions on the O-line?
Have I played what? All 5 positions on the O-line? Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So
So I played tackle, guard, and center. And it didn't matter which side. I don't care about all that. I play wherever. Like, I'm good.
So you played the whole 5 positions. Wow.
What you saying? And they crack me up. They're like, coach, I'm an athlete.
Wow, yeah.
My coach is going to hear that and start cracking up at me right now. But no, yeah, like I'm that player. I will go anywhere or do anything. Like one time, even on my women's team, the Houston Power, they sent me out. There was like nobody, and they said, "You know what? Go to wide receiver." And I just stepped in at wide receiver because they knew I knew all the routes.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's not really. I'm not super fast. Well, and I knew I probably wasn't gonna speed-wise beat that corner, so I kind of just came out the gate and punched her and knocked her over. So, and then I went on my route.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean that was just like a one-time goofy thing. It was a lot of fun though.
What's a position you always wanted to play?
Huh?
What's one position you always wanted to play?
Did I always want to play?
But you haven't played yet.
I would love to play middle linebacker.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, right now, I would have to work on my speed and lose some weight, and so I could run a little faster. But that's something I always wanted to learn and play more because I love tackling. Actually, one of my favorite drills was Oklahoma drills.
What?
Yeah.
She likes it.
Yeah. My women's coach was old school, so we did a lot of those. And one thing I was that person that would step up and do that drill like 10 times until I was exhausted and couldn't hardly move anymore.
Wow.
So, as far as you say you probably want to get into coaching later on in life, would you be an old school coach, or how do you feel you would be what do you feel your coaching style would be if you were a coach?
Well, in some ways I would be old school maybe as far as discipline, but as far as like training and strategy, there's a lot of new information coming out on things, and as a scientist, because anthropology is a science, I would have to go with a lot of that because I think there's a lot of new and exciting research on, training and building muscle and increasing speed. And then, of course, the game gets ever more interesting as far as the strategies. And I love strategic games. I love logic problems. So that part of it kind of fascinates me. And I love creative solutions to problems. So, I think in that way I'd probably be a little more modern than some of the old school ways. But I definitely tend to be a little bit more old school as far as discipline and order and whatnot.
Right.
When I grew up, we were running sprints or suicides whenever we bounced off to our coach. And if we played poorly in a game and made stupid mistakes, we were running the stadium stands and all kinds of stuff. Sometimes that's tough work when you have that kind of discipline, and it makes you stronger.
Let me ask you this. Name one player or a couple players that you tried to model your game out.
Try to model my game after?
Yeah.
Well, good grief, this phone. My phone is talking to me. Well, first I have to say I'm going to give props to my girl Sam Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but she's a little girl and she wanted to play football, and she played running back and some other positions, and she played with the boys. And she was actually some of my inspiration when Flash and CT had come to me, and I just remembered her playing, and she reminded me of that fearless little girl I used to be. And so it ended up she ended up starting a whole girls league in Utah.
Nice.
And based off of her gaining fame from playing with the boys, and she was a beast, man. Well, she still is. And so she used that for something good to start, a girls' league in Utah. And so now there's a whole girls' league, tackle football, for girls to play in Utah because of her. So that's definitely one of the, I don't know, that's a huge inspiration to me. And then,
hold on, Ben had a question for you real quick.
Was she that little girl in the Century Super Bowl commercial?
Yeah.
And she's like, you mean this ball? Come get it. That one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I remember seeing her on ESPN. She was playing linebacker and running back, and she was bad. She was a bad girl, dude.
Yeah.
She cold.
That's exactly who I'm talking about.
Okay.
And then, my first position was DT. And so when I started really paying attention and studying DTs, this Wilford, number 75, I studied him a lot. And then, too, I wanted to be like. And, I still wear number 75 because of him, even though I play center now. But he's just so aggressive and powerful. And that's just, that's something that I try to model myself after.
So when you play DT, are you more of a clogger?
Am I more of a what?
Like a clogger, like you Vince Wilfork was more of he clogged the hole.
Oh yeah, I definitely clogged the holes. I constantly draw double teams.
Okay.
And honestly, and like for example, when I played women's, I had a middle linebacker who played behind me, Valerie Tyler. They call her the Reaper. Homegirl's like super tall, super strong. Anyway, so she'd just come up behind me and she'd tap me on the backside, like what side she wanted to go blitz, and then I'd just go the opposite way and draw the double team and drag them off so she could go knock the head out the quarterback.
Nice.
And, I've been known to swing people sometimes and put them on their ass and whatnot. And I think the first time I pulled off that move where I'll literally push somebody into the backfield and then knock somebody else over. Like that was a lot of fun.
I bet it was.
When you use one person to knock another person over.
So this question I gotta ask you. There's a lot of competition in TUSA.
Oh, there is a lot of competition, and certainly these guys give me a lot of work, and you know what? I'm excited for it. I said, I really want to see how far I can push myself and how far I can.
How far do you think the H-Town Panthers can go in the TUSA?
Panthers doesn't know.
Panthers.
Oh, we're headed for the shit. We're not playing. We're not here to play games. We're here to win.
Yeah.
And obviously we have things to work on. We could see from the first game where we need to build and improve, but there's a great space going on there that's really great. We have a great set of coaches I'm really excited about. And then, we have CT as the owner, and he's also a great player as well. And then we have Coach Torres, who's been doing this for like over 30 years. I mean, we have a lot of experience. We have a lot of talent on the team right now. So many players just with a lot of talent. So I'm really hyped about this season.
Well, you gotta come back to the show, man.
Yeah, you definitely got to tell us how your season goes, because I know last year y'all was kind of robbed. Everybody was robbed because of COVID, and I'm actually excited to hear how y'all do, and you know what's going to happen in your near future besides playing in the All-Star game, just in your regular season with your regular season team. You, yeah, I was kind of taken back because Darnell was like, yeah, this is offensive line. I'm like, listen, man, stop playing. So he showed me the picture where you kind of had your hand on your face, like with the 2 rings. I was like, ooh, that just shut down the whole conversation. And I was like, ooh, you can't come back from that. So I was like, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited to hear what she's got to say. And being in a male-dominated sport, you're making strides for females to play in a sport like this. Not saying it's going to be any time in our lifetime. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But eventually, there's going to be sports where it's going to be males and females. That used to be a male-dominated sport. It's probably going to be women's football and men's football, and basketball. Basketball, where they have it, it's not necessarily the pay difference is a big difference, but that's a whole nother story.
Let me ask you this as we shut down. Our next show, episode 35. You gotta like, share, and subscribe. You gotta be one of the subscribers.
Please.
But
let me ask you this.
Repost it.
Episode 35 is gonna be. Do you think men should get reimbursed for child support? And this is just one of your.
Yes. Okay. I'm currently on child support, and I love my daughter to death, and I don't feel like I should be reimbursed because it's one of those things where you're gonna take care of your child regardless.
Let me read it. Okay, it says, should a man be reimbursed for child support after many years, like, I guess, after many years, yeah, like if you find out, like...
Well, if the child wasn't his, right. I can see that, but that's a whole other thing, like you end up... It's a lot that goes to that. That's a real loaded question that we have to wait till another podcast, the next podcast.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, that's the next podcast.
But just to kind of kick it off, like I don't really think there's a need for reimbursement because are your parents going to ask you to reimburse them for?
I guess what the question was is should they be reimbursed like if they find out like that wasn't his child?
There's a lot to that. There's a lot to that.
So that'll probably be the next podcast. That's episode 35.
Audrey, it was really a pleasure having you on the show. I really appreciate you coming to talk to us. And yeah, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
And I if you feel have like an opinion on it or want to jump in on the next show, of course, we're always open to have people call in or hey, I want to jump in on this. So keep in touch with us. Let us know how your season's going. Feel free to kind of break in like, hey, we won or whatever. I really want to follow is it Houston Panthers?
Yes, the H-Town Panthers.
H-Town Panthers, okay.
We have a Facebook page.
Okay.
I'll send it to you so you can follow it.
Okay, well make sure you put the show on the H-Town Panthers channel. I that's all I really got to say. I'm glad you came out and talked to us. Like, you really opened my eyes to a lot. I've never been, one to be like girls can't play, but I've just never heard about a female playing O-line, especially. That's just
that's impressive.
That's some trenches right there. That's some trenches. I never played football, but me being in jiu-jitsu the way I am now, I don't necessarily train with females all the time. But there's some pretty strong women out there that can I was like, oh shit, she just tapped me. I was like, oh hell no, I ain't taking it easy on now. It's awesome, girl, I want to do that. But it's like, oh no, you just tap, I'm cool. Like, you better get this work. So you better get all this pushing.
But I'm out there to try to change some minds. I believe, people come in all kinds of abilities across the board. So, I'm just happy to be out there playing, and hopefully I inspire some people and maybe change a few minds while I'm out there,
Well, I guess the final thought is just to chase your dreams, like all you've been doing, like all you continue to do. And like, share, subscribe, and join us episode 35. And thank you so much for coming, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me in there.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, we'll see y'all later.
See you later. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, good night.